We will miss them. We miss the other 3 that are gone.
State police are investigating after one of their own shot and killed a man who they say pointed a gun at the trooper while trying to escape arrest.
A Corbin Middle School was locked down earlier today because of a shooting on the same street.
I would say we're going to be a mauling, helping, rotating, shot-blocking team.
Just a day before Big Blue Madness, UK coach John Calipari gives us an idea of what to expect this season.
This is WKYT News at 5.
Troopers say they were just trying to serve a warrant. Good evening to you. I'm Amber Philpotts.
And I'm Barbara Bailey. Tonight, investigators in Rowan County are trying to piece together what happened moments before an officer-involved shooting last night.
Troopers say they were serving an arrest warrant to 22-year-old Matthew Brewer, but they say he ended up pointing a gun at them. WKYT's Hillary Thornton is tracking the investigation in our top story at 5.
State police first came to this house last night to serve an arrest warrant on Matthew Brewer. They say the 22-year-old then tried to run, pointing a gun at a trooper.
We'll be remembered as a good man and, you know, a loving person, and just we all have our problems, but, you know, he's a good person.
This all happening at a home at the top of Old Hilda Road where friends say Brewer had lived with his mother and other family members for several years. State police say when they first got to the home, they made contact with Brewer outside before he ran inside. They say he then tried to get away out a back door, and that is when he pointed a gun at Trooper Michael Armstrong. Investigators say Trooper Armstrong was then forced to use his weapon. Many neighbors we spoke to say Brewer was always a good kid growing up, but unfortunately seemed to get involved with drugs. Deborah Prather was the bus monitor on the school bus Brewer rode each day. She says she has had to see many young lives lost too soon.
They followed peer pressure and got into these things, and it destroyed them. And I'm sad for the families.
Brewer's friends all agree the report by police does not sound like something he would do. They say the 22-year-old lived life to the fullest and loved being outdoors.
Really shocking, just, you know, something to happen so close to home, you know, someone you know so well, you know, it's a real shame for everyone involved.
The shooting does remain under investigation by Kentucky State Police. In Rowan County, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
The state police say they were serving a warrant out of Madison County for reporting a false incident, leaving the scene of an accident, possession of marijuana, and having an open container.
A man and his wife are in the hospital tonight after a shooting in Whitley County. Corbin police have not released many details about the actual shooting, but they tell us a man has been flown to a hospital with several gunshot wounds, and his wife was taken to a nearby hospital, but they didn't say what her injuries were. WKYT's Victor Puente is at the scene. Victor.
Friends of the couple tell me they still don't know what happened. They're waiting for answers while police continue this investigation. Corbin police say the shooting happened around 10 this morning. They say Steve Pataki was shot multiple times at his home on 7th Street.
I just couldn't imagine who could have done this and why.
Pataki was taken to UT Hospital in Knoxville. His wife, who was in the home at the time, was taken to a hospital in Corbin. Police say their teenage twins were at school.
Steve and Julia both are very nice, and they would help anybody that needed help. And the kids, they're just very polite kids, and it's just going to be sad for the kids.
Police haven't named a suspect or said if they've made an arrest. They say they won't be able to release any more information on what happened in the home until after they're able to speak to Pataki's wife. The couple owns a locksmith business as well as a restaurant that just opened a couple of months ago. The manager at that restaurant tells me currently they plan to continue with business as normal. In Whitley County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Now, Corbin Middle School is about a block away from where the shooting happened. The school was put on lockdown this morning for about an hour.
State police have charged a man with murder today after a deadly shooting in southern Kentucky. Our county-by-county coverage at 5 begins in Cumberland County. Troopers say 60-year-old Daniel Blair shot and killed 38-year-old Michael Taylor last night at a home along Veterans Alley in Burkesville. They say Blair was Taylor's passenger earlier in the night, but investigators have not released any details about what led up to the shooting. Troopers say they're also looking for Blair's wife, 61-year-old Pamela Blair. They believe she may be driving a white 2009 Chevy Aveo. Her daughter, 30-year-old Katie Cooper, and Cooper's 1-year-old daughter could be with Blair as well. In Allen County, a man accused of shooting the mother of his child has pled not guilty. 23-year-old Ethan Reed is charged with murder, domestic violence for the shooting death of 20-year-old Kayla Hodges. Scottsville police say Hodges was shot once in the back on the front porch of a home earlier this month. Police say right before the shooting, Reed posted an apology to Facebook saying, quote, "I've been pushed to this point over time." And in Washington County, a teenager killed in a crash over the weekend has now been identified. The crash happened Saturday on Kentucky 53. State police say 18-year-old Emily Bowman of Lancaster lost control of her car and hit a tree. Her car then caught fire. Troopers say Bowman died at the scene, but they were not able to identify her until now.
Donald Trump is denying new allegations tonight of sexual improprieties. This comes after several women have come forward saying the Republican nominee touched them inappropriately in the past. And Democrat Hillary Clinton is dealing with the release of yet more hacked emails from inside her campaign. CBS's Craig Boswell has the latest on campaign 2016.
Donald Trump is on the defensive after several women came forward with stories of how they say the Republican presidential nominee touched them inappropriately in the past.
It was a real shock when all of a sudden his hands were all over me.
Jessica Leeds told the New York Times Trump grabbed her breasts and reached up her skirt during a flight in the 1980s. People magazine writer Natasha Stoynoff wrote a first-person account of a 2005 interview session at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. He was pushing me against the wall and forcing his tongue down my throat. This morning, Trump tweeted that Stoynoff didn't include the incident in her article because it did not happen. And his campaign said the allegations trivialize sexual assault and demonstrate a new low for where the media is willing to go to determine this election. Hillary Clinton is having her own struggles, but hers come from the steady stream of hacked emails between her campaign staffers that are being released by WikiLeaks. In a 2015 email titled Needy Latinos, Clinton campaign chair John Podesta urged Clinton to call former Energy Secretary Federico Pena, who is close to committing but carrying some baggage, and former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, notwithstanding the fact that he can be a blank. Clinton blames the leaks on Russian hackers supporting Trump.
That's how desperate they are. That's all they have left, pure negativity.
More hacked emails were released today. Craig Boswell, CBS News, the White House.
Now, the New York Times has confirmed it has received a letter from Trump's lawyers demanding a retraction. The Times responded, declining to do so.
The cooler weather is sticking around at least for another day or so, but our eyes are already on our weekends.
Well, you can bet on that. We're in for some big changes in the temperatures. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is here to tell us all about it. What can we expect?
Yeah, those numbers are going to begin to take off on us as we get into the weekend. Now, between now and then, it's a little brand of some seasonal October air, but coming with kind of an ugly price out there today. Notice all the clouds and the overcast conditions showing up here on the Jackson cam, but kind of making up for it, look at the explosion now of fall colors in the mountains, and that's going to continue. Lexington, that sky is gorgeous, and the WKYT Weather Garden flexing a little fall color muscle out there too. Low and mid 60s into much of central and eastern Kentucky until you get to Prestonsburg and Jackson, 59 cool degrees where the clouds are a little thicker, pushing 70 on the Virginia border just behind that front. Defender radar network showing the thick clouds across southern and southeastern Kentucky. A little more in the way of some late afternoon sun to our north. Now, the front that made its way through here this morning with a couple of gusty showers, and I do mean a couple, that is well to our south and southeast. High pressure, though, the name of the game into the day tomorrow, but coming up by tomorrow night and into Saturday, that same front is going to try to head back toward the north. Let you know what that means for the weekend with a brand new hour-by-hour forecast.
All right, thank you. We're going to get our first real look at the UK men's basketball team tomorrow night.
But today, Coach John Calipari talked about his expectations for the season. WKYT's Rob Bromley joins us now. And Rob, how is this team shaping up so far?
Well, John Calipari simply expects to have a team that will compete for a national championship, but it is only mid-October. Today, media day for the Wildcats. Cal's players have already had a chance to show NBA scouts what they could do in a televised practice last Sunday. Now, it's been suggested that Kentucky could struggle shooting the ball from the perimeter.
That could be. May not be. We may end up being the best shooting team I've had. It's too early. I mean, the combine was a huge success for these players because every player helped themselves. Every single guy that was there helped themselves. They now can put all that stuff behind them and understand you've been evaluated. Now you're going to get better.
And we'll have much more coming up in sports. Two of the freshmen talk defense and Cal on coaching his son, Brad.
Well, still to come on WKYT News. A few Kentucky firefighters who helped with Hurricane Matthew relief have come home. We'll hear from them.
And later, a Lexington Fitness Center is working to fight cancer by working it out. That's in Better Living, coming up in about 6 minutes.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
I hope you're having a great day out there. A lot cooler than what we've become accustomed to over the past few days. Hang in there. It's going to get mild again this weekend, and especially it may get downright warm early next week. Let's look outside. That front that slipped its way through the Bluegrass State a little earlier today is off to our south and southeast. So 60s across Kentucky, yet 50s to our north, and that cool air goes all the way back into parts of the southern plains states as of now. So underneath that high, you've got some clearing, but notice on the southern edge of that, the clouds are already beginning to gather a little more steam, and some of that's going to try to roll back into town later tomorrow and into early on Saturday. But this high pressure, at least in the short term, cleaning the skies up here across the northern parts of the area. Nothing on your Defender radar network outside of a little drizzle into southeastern Kentucky where you've got some thicker clouds. Jackson, yeah, it's kind of ugly with that sky, but boy, the trees are showing off Moorhead. Sunshine. Sunshine into Florence and Louisville. Lexington, yeah, a little half and half action. Tomorrow, 65 to 70, mix of sun and clouds. There's a chance tomorrow evening that we get in an isolated shower. Better chances as we go into Saturday, but overall, it's an isolated shower thunderstorm threat into the weekend. Here's the hour-by-hour forecast now, and it's hot off the presses. Brand spanking new, 11 o'clock this evening. A lot of 50s show up, and early tomorrow morning, the numbers keep getting a little milder in terms of a low. Low 40s to the north, 50-ish across the south. That's suggesting that this front is already trying to creep back to the north. And on the leading edge of some of that warmer air, look what tries to happen tomorrow afternoon. Notice we got a little spot or two of some green showing up. That could be a shower, southern Kentucky. Bigger burst of rain into western parts of the area. And now this latest model run tomorrow evening suggests we have a shower chance into much of the region. That may impact a high school football game or two. And we're looking at this for the first time together, but whenever I saw those temperatures tomorrow morning coming in a little warmer, I knew exactly what was going to happen because that front is going to lift its way back to the north, and even into Saturday, thermometers can really take off deep into the 70s. You can get a scattered shower thunderstorm with more humidity into the mix. And Sunday is going to be one of those days where it's a little on the mild side and we get warm. Upper 70s to low 80s Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Are you kidding me? Middle and into next week, though, we go the opposite way. Could be some beneficial rains late next week into the following weekend as temperatures come way down.
That weekend forecast looks great, though.
It really does. Watch tomorrow evening, though. A sneaky shower or two may try to crash a high school football game here or there, all right?
All right, we'll deal with it.
Live look at Lexington rush hour traffic and still working a collision outbound on North Lime at Salem. That's a non-injury crash. Police still on the scene there. So hopefully get that cleared before too long. Also a new one on Wilson Downing. This is just down from Tate's Creek. Drive times to Georgetown, 18 minutes. To Paris, about 20. And we're still okay to Richmond, 27 minutes as of right now. Now back to you in the studio.
Still ahead on WKYT News, Lexington's emergency services are now a one-stop shop. We'll get a tour of the new Public Safety Operations Center.
Also, a Lexington mother wants to see some changes in the neighborhood after her daughter's murder. Her plea for help coming up on WKYT News at 5:30. The focus of Hurricane Matthew is shifting more towards cleanup now, and rescue crews are heading home.
Several Kentucky-based firefighters who help with the storm relief efforts are now back in the Bluegrass. WKYT's Monique Blair talked to one Lexington firefighter about his trip.
Hold on. We're coming. Hey,
we're coming for you.
It's something that I've never seen before. Literally going in there and opening up doors or opening up windows and the water's to the ceiling.
Lexington firefighter Captain Ryan Hogston is describing his water rescue mission in North Carolina. Hogston, along with 2 other Lexington firefighters, Wes Gillum and Lieutenant Paul Richards, hooked up with a team of 80 rescuers from different states. They got boats and floated door to door in Fayetteville.
The first house that we came to, we actually had people banging on the windows as we went by in boats.
Captain Hogston and his team members worked 12-hour shifts at night with little breaks.
We actually had to break into somebody's house to go in and get a family of 4 out. The person that was there was a handicapped person, and her family was basically holding her head above the water when we got there. It was a dire issue, so we had to actually lift her out of the kitchen window over top of the sink, or what used to be the sink area, and to put her in our boat.
Captain Hogston didn't get the name of the family that he and his crew helped. They had to move on to the next rescue. In 2 days, these firefighters saved 7 people.
It made me thankful for what I have now. I can only imagine what would happen if it was my family. I'm just glad there's teams out there that are able to risk it all to go help people.
In Lexington, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Well, that type of water rescue he was talking about is nothing new to the Lexington Fire Department. They actually practice and have scenarios where they will flood mock houses and areas around them for training purposes. As one group returns from the East Coast, another Central Kentucky group is getting ready to head to North Carolina. Right now, there is a trailer at Jackson County Vocational Center in McKee for people to drop off donations for storm victims. The trailer will be there until Monday afternoon at 3, and then it will go to the Boone Square Shopping Center in Berea Monday night, and it'll be back at the Mount Vernon Fuel Center on Highway 25 South Tuesday morning. That group is collecting water, canned foods, baby items, bathroom items, and cleaning supplies.
After months of construction, Lexington's new Public Safety Operations Center is finally up and running. The building will house the 911 Lex Call and the Division of Emergency Management. City leaders say having these services all under one roof will make things more efficient in cases of disaster.
Instead of getting on the phone or the radio across town, we'll be able to problem solve within the same building. We can walk down the hall and problem solve with those key players that need to be at the table.
The new public safety building is near the intersection of Versailles and Cisco Road. It actually used to be the home of the Juvenile Detention Center. Coming up on WKYT News at 5:30, a close call for an Eastern Kentucky hunter. He says someone shot at him and he caught it on camera. We'll get a look at that video.
A new birth control study has people talking about depression, and Walmart is hosting free health checks this weekend. The story's next in Better Living. It is time now for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says that about 30% of American women who use the pill eventually quit because of the side effects. One of those side effects, depression. It's the new subject of a new study out of Denmark. Kim Hutcherson has more in today's Health Minute.
If you're a woman taking hormonal birth control like the pill, Depo-Provera, or other long-acting reversible contraceptives, you might be more susceptible to depression. That's according to a study conducted at the University of Copenhagen in Denmark. Researchers analyzed 14 years' worth of data collected from more than 1 million Danish women between the ages of 15 and 34. They found that the use of hormonal birth control was linked to both a diagnosis of depression and the use of antidepressants, compared to women who didn't use that method of contraception. Around 1 in 4 American women between the ages of 15 and 44 use hormonal birth control, according to the National Center for Health Statistics. Researchers at the University of Copenhagen noted that there was a difference in risk rates between women who used oral and non-oral forms of hormonal contraceptives. They also said that the association doesn't imply that hormonal birth control alone causes depression. They say more research is needed to better understand the link. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
One of America's largest superstores is offering free checkups one day only. Walmart Wellness Day is this Saturday, October 15th. More than 4,600 locations across the country will offer access to free health screenings, education, and services. These services are said to include free blood glucose tests, blood pressure, vision screenings, and important health insurance information. Walmart Wellness Day will be from noon to 4 p.m. local time. And the Lexington Fitness Center is hoping you will help in the fight against breast cancer this weekend by simply working out. Proof Fitness in Lexington will host classes for a cure this Sunday, benefiting Susan G. Komen. The day will be filled with a number of classes from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., all supporting breast cancer awareness.
So we kind of have a more personal connection to it because one of our employees, one of my coworkers, her family has a history of breast cancer. Her grandmother actually passed away. Her mother has been through all sorts of rounds of chemo and has diagnosis of breast cancer all throughout her life.
Studio classes offered include TRX, cycling, boxing, yoga, and more. Each class is $5 to sign up for Classes for a Cure Sunday. Just go to prooffitness.com. Now, here's what's coming up for you at 5:30.